Okay, hi Sages, and welcome to your December 2021 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky coming on. Really happy to be here in your season. As someone with a lot of Sagittarius in my own chart, I am really excited to talk about this month for you because I think that you are finally really preparing to move on from a previous paradigm and step into a much more Sagittarius like experience instead of the Capricorn like experience of the past few years, ever since Jupiter was in Capricorn in 2020. So I want to really let you guys know that every Sagittarius in some way I think will be expanding in the month of December, perhaps earning more, perhaps stepping into new lines of work, perhaps trying new ideas, new concepts, and you're really encouraged to do that this month. So we have a lot of Wands energy coming up in your reading, and your only major arcana card is the Judgment card. So it really is a lot like a total transformation and total shifting into creative fire element types of things. I think that previous fears that you've had or previous concerns about whether or not you can commit to certain things will start to fade away. And I'm thinking that after a brief period of respite or a brief period of just letting your structures produce what they've, I don't know, built or have been storing for a long time, I think that you come out and you're ready to basically be a more true version of yourself by the end of Sagittarius season. So it is kind of like the energy of coming out. It is kind of like the energy of truth telling or undertaking a more authentic and more organic projection process. So I could see, I'm getting so many downloads. Maybe a little bit of a teaser for 2022 year ahead forecasts here. I'll give you guys a little bit. There's an entirely new support network generating energetically right now, and it really goes in tandem with the month cycles of 2022. So it's almost like every single month in 2022 we're like maybe having a new person come in or a new idea or a new concept, and it's gonna basically end up seeing that we've completely transformed by the end of 2022. So I want to let you guys know that that's happening, and by January, like calendar new year, not even astrological new year, but calendar new year of 2022, you already have to start being ready for like these new almost like appointments into your life. If you can imagine yourself being like the executive or like the king or queen of your own experience, you're probably going to be appointing maybe like 12 different people over the next year of 2022 to facilitate this level up that you're wanting. So maybe it's as simple as like a new hairstylist. Maybe it's a new academic advisor. Maybe it's a new life coach. Maybe it's a new astrologer. Maybe it could be anything. Maybe it's a new doctor. Maybe it's endless, and maybe it's all of those things. Maybe it's all of those things. Okay, and by the end of 2022, we need a more solid support structure. And December of 2021 for you Sagittarius is preparing that foundation, like the energy that you enter into this part of bringing in expertise or bringing in more people into the structure of your life is going to be based on how you exit the month of December. So yeah, this is really a time where we have to know what we want. I mean, to be very clear, this is not like, 5, 12, 20 new people into your life who like live your life for you, who make decisions for you, who like are essentially handlers for you. That's not what this is like at all. It's the other way around. It's you having to know what your end game is. It's you having to know what you want out of life, and then having reciprocal ties with these people, like as a 50-50% type of relationship. Not where you're like, okay, I'm going to bring in a business advisor and they're going to be essentially running my business. Or, okay, I'm going to like start working with a realtor to sell a house, and this realtor is going to like decide whether or not the house is renovated before it's sold, and is going to like also be communicating with like all these other people. No, we've got to make sure that we confine the roles of other people in our life well past this month. So you have maybe a lot of retrospection to do this month, Sag, about why you got caught up in some of the quandaries, conundrums, untenable situations that you did from 2020 to 2021, late 2021. And you might have a lot of repairs, a lot of maintenance, a lot of walking away or committing to, or I don't know, updating in order to get things where you really stand behind what you're doing, where you really want to put your name on what you're doing. Okay. Um, I am sensing that your creative energy is really increasing this month. Okay. Maybe some of you are wanting to go into like a content creation career or something, which certainly check my links below. I actually have a link for like equipment for content creators that you can definitely check out. As a content creator myself, um, I have developed quite a good understanding of what it takes and what works best. So definitely check out my affiliate links below for like Amazon content creation equipment. I've just put together a list of things because I think that it's so great, and I definitely invite any new content creators to check that out. Those are affiliate links, though, indeed. But before we trail off, if you've been wanting to start doing content creation, definitely consider going about that, or consider starting to create new things in your life that might give you more autonomy and more creative capacity. You also have a rise in confidence coming this month. So 6 of Wands, 9 of Wands, 5 of Wands, so much wand energy. It's like you have been working too hard where it never mattered, or you've been putting so much energy into things that were inconsequential. And you're called in this month to start working on the consequential things again, and to start really finding creative solutions to these problems, instead of just letting things loom, or instead of just letting things be never ending crisis points. So an overcoming of crisis point, right? An overcoming of, yeah, just feeling grinding conflict is in store for you. And it's going to get better, 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 better through the year of 2022, as you maybe surround yourself again with a better support network, or a better group of people who kind of can work reciprocally with you. Okay. So another thing that I'm feeling for December, you've got to know who's on your side and who isn't in your life. I see that you've had a big emotional evolution since December of 2020. Okay. And you might still be looking to like surround yourself with the people from before that time. As we evolve, as we change, sometimes people come with us, sometimes they don't. And I'm feeling like it's more like the latter for you. It doesn't mean that you're like not having anybody in your life that you had before. For some Sages, it is like that. But I think that you have to have new people. Okay. And that to me feels like the most important thing that your season is trying to show you. Like, especially if you're a Sun Sagittarius and the Sun, you're having a solar return, it's like trying to reinvigorate your people energy, your relationship energy, more than anything, because that is more so at the root of some of these chaotic things than you know. It could be from trying to do too much yourself, or the extreme opposite, like being completely dependent on others. And you're being called to rest, refocus, and have a nice little homecoming about like what you should be doing by yourself and what you need help from other people to do. And that should heal a lot of these little questions you have. Okay, so another intuitive message I'm feeling for Sagittarius in the month of December 2021. How beautiful it is to have a healthy lifestyle and just a soft feeling of flexibility in your life now. Sagittarius, I feel for so long, has been pushing up against a brick wall, or has been wearing clothes that don't fit properly, or materials that don't feel good to them, or living in places that are really hard and damaging to them. And here you have a chance, and probably a natural momentum that might have even already happened before you got to December, but you might just be settling into it now, where it's like, oh my gosh, you have like a sort of comprehensive well-being. Maybe everything's not perfect yet, but I really think that some Sages, through having pushed so hard, or having like worked so hard over the last few years, have put together a reality that is about as good as it's ever been, but you kind of feel exhausted to me at the same time. So this is where you have to settle in to that good space and maybe back off a little bit. So I'm talking the slightly less production of things, working less hours perhaps. Making more while working less is way more possible than you even know at this point in time. This is again why I recommend creative entrepreneurship for those of you who have already created that path, or who have already known that it's coming, because that's actually possible with things like that, you know. But it's not right for everybody. Some Sages really are incredible employees as well. So you might need to mix it together, becoming self-employed, becoming an employer perhaps. There's a lot of different little adjustments you can make to things like this, like what you're committing time to, what you're feeling like you have to do to get by. All of this can really be shifted, and you're in a much healthier place to have good results from that. But it should be very possible to feel much better moving into January of 2022, and to kind of know inevitably that you will be in a much more preferable place. So, on that note, let's talk about your week to week Sag, and then I'll put together an extended reading for you on Patreon. So, let's jump into it. So, week number 1 in December, you've got the Four of Swords rooted down by Two of Pentacles. It seems that this could also stretch through the entire month, like this energy combination of needing to rest, respite, and make choices. So you probably have two major life paths you could follow at this time, and you're at that crossroads perhaps, and you know it's like, okay, can I do both of these things? Are these conflicting goals? Do I have to choose one of these things? And even if you don't have to choose one of these goals or one of these paths, it's good to reflect and think which one you would if, push came to shove, because that, and for a lot of people, if they just cannot understand the right way to go, or if they are really giving themselves a hard time, I always recommend trying to remove yourself from maybe the financial aspect of it, or the reputation aspect of it, just to kind of get in touch with your own soul's journey, and make sure that your vision isn't being fogged by like illusions, like money or reputation, even though those things can have a huge impact on our lives, of course. Usually money and reputation follow a soul-oriented person. So if you're following your soul path, I do feel that those things are going to fall into place, but you can also follow things that aren't your soul path, that you think are like a monetary type of path. And you can have that, but then you can kind of also get squandered feeling by it. So just kind of try to get in major touch with like what is a universal cause for you. We have your ruling planet of Jupiter changing signs this month. And it's going from the Uranus-ruled sign of Aquarius to the Neptune-ruled sign of Pisces, meaning that our passions, our big goals, our Jupiterian things, right? Our careers, our big dreams are going from a more of an innovative, technological, and, what do I want to say? Innovative, technological, and just odd, like different vibe, to more of an ultimate vibe, more of a perhaps semi-religious, spiritual, or even political vibe for some people. And if it's not those things, it can still be very dreamy and different. Pisces and Aquarius are very similar. I like to say those two signs, Aquarius is like robots and Pisces is like aliens. So what I will say is there's something that becomes less definable or less fixed. So we might want to be careful about completely confining our dreams or completely planning things out to a T also, because it might be hard to really realize such strictly conformed things as we move from Jupiter and Aquarius to Pisces. But we mainly just have to have an emotional and soul level contact with what we're partaking in. Otherwise, it will be very hard with Jupiter and Pisces to do something that we don't feel that we're behind anymore, or to do something that we feel is outworn or no longer connected to the bigger cause for us. So just try to think about things in that context. But the first week, yes, of December will have you there, right, with Four of Swords and the Two of Pentacles. So just let it be. North Node is still in Gemini. We have a lot of thinking, I suppose, to do. Right at the cusp, South Node in Sag, North Node in Gemini. So much thinking. So think things over, sit with it, enjoy yourself, try to keep healthy during that time. Week 2, you've got the Judgment card rooted down by Queen of Cups. So emotional transformation. Emotional wake-up calls also. Intuitive wake-up call. You could kind of sense that you've been sleeping on something, or you've been completely oblivious to something, and maybe an emotional catalyst experience snaps you out of that trance. I would definitely pay attention to trances or trance-like states, or being totally just like foggy or out of it. Being indecisive because of an oblivious tendency is something to look at, because I think you will have a wake-up call. Then you'll know it then. And what I can say is that we're going to have to make, I think, a decision in the second week about what we really want for our long term. It's important. And we have to really square things away. Like, we have to maybe define things a little bit more with Jupiter at the end of Aquarius before it changes sign in the late third week of December, I believe it is. Second week of December, like, try to define things as much as you can and be prepared for a different kind of expansion. So week 3, you've got 6 of Wands rooted down by the Queen of Pentacles. 6 of Wands, Queen of Pentacles. Natural confidence, right? Authentic confidence. Not fake confidence, not plastered on fakeness. So we have a move towards authentic confidence and away from manufactured confidence. So what leads us to have authentic confidence? I think it goes back to ultimate cause. I think it goes back to being in a place that you feel is, at the very least, a bridge or a path to where you want to be, and not stagnating on that bridge any longer. Knowing what you are after and defining that endpoint while allowing your movement towards it to be a more undefined, perhaps, experience. It's quite profound, it's quite deep. But an unconfident Sagittarius is an odd thing. Again, it's the mutable fire sign. It's got to really be confident. So if you're feeling not confident about something, I would say it has a lot to do with some type of signal from the universe being like, it's not really the right territory for you. It's not wrong, but it's also not right. So that's where we get into that kind of undefinable place. Like, then what is it? If it's not right, if it's not wrong, what is it? Jupiter in Pisces is going to deal a lot with answering that question for us, and it's going in that week. So week 4, you've got the 9 of Wands rooted down by the 5 of Wands reversed. So 9 of Wands is one of the 2021 cards, meaning that we had to do more than we ever needed to do. We pushed ourselves too hard. We tried to move something that we ourselves were not really meant to move. And also, we have to have completion for what we signed up for, even though it's harder than we thought it would be. We can't back out now. 9 of Wands, like, we've come this far, we've put this much into it. It is unfortunate feeling right now, but now we have to follow through. That's the feeling with 5 of Wands reading it down reversed. I would say maybe you're having to carry an emotional burden of others, like you're having to maybe keep the peace. You're like the peacekeeper in a family situation or in your job or whatever. And it's getting really exhausting. I think that you've got to get some of this stuff off your back. The 2022 year cycle can be a continuation of 9 of Wands, absolutely. And we almost have to start enjoying that, almost like a runner enjoys the increase of endurance they receive from being in 9 of Wands so frequently, right? So it's going to be kind of Eye of the Tiger stuff in 2022. So this 9 of Wands, 10 of Wands, 9 of Swords, the 3 cards of 2021, in my opinion, have not been in vain. They've been increasing our endurance so that we can hold our own in 2022. And in order to do that, we have got to get a pretty big network going. I've got to tell you guys, like, I think every person needs about 12 different kinds of people in their life. For some people, yes, it's a new committed relationship as one of those roles. For a lot of people, it's some type of advisor role. For some people, it's as simple as like a massage therapist. For some people, it's as simple as an acupuncturist. Like, there are these, it's interesting. So we had the 2021 year of the ox that made these little cells, okay? So if you think of like these professions, right? Because professions are an example of what year of the ox creates. Think of like the legal profession, the holistic health profession, the medical profession, the I don't know, the investing profession, the crypto profession. I don't know. There are all these kind of celled off little, almost kind of like cancers, like separate. I'm kidding. But we have to be able to work with these systems to some degree if we are not off the grid, you know. So what are maybe the 12 different people that you need in your experience? It's some good food for thought, because that will help this that will help transcend this bad feeling Nine of Wands energy, because we're essentially trying to be all of these roles for ourselves, and like one person can't do it all, you know? We have to, I think, in order to start on that, get really clear about like what we can do in our own life, like what we are charging ourselves with doing, and then maybe subtract a few of those things and delegate in order to do this better. I'm seeing so many Sagittarians coming out of the year of 2021 like incapable to have any spontaneity, or incapable of facing an unexpected situation, because they're so full, they're so they've got such heavy plates, they've got so much going on, that again, it's like a straw would break the camel's back. And that's something that we have to be able to adjust slightly in the year of 2022, and then probably adjust majorly in 2023. But it's like 2021, there's almost like a get out of jail free card. It's kind of like, okay, it's okay, you took on way too much, but like, get it right and keep moving. And really quickly into 2022, though, we want to make room for spontaneous situations moving into Year of the Tiger, right? We want to make room for spontaneity, and also for, what if something unexpected came up? How would that reverberate through my life if I had like an unexpected situation that I had to deal with? Is my plate roomy enough to not break with an unexpected new energy thing I have to work on? Because this can be so good as well. And, a lot of you might be listening to this and thinking like, oh my God, does that mean I'm going to have like an illness in my family? Does that mean I'm going to have to like deal with something like, I don't know, a loss of money, or a loss, and suddenly have like some crazy problem come up? It's more likely that you could get like an incredible job offer, or that you could get an incredible like surplus of some kind. But if your plate is so full, a surplus or an offer or some type of benevolence can also be a straw that breaks a camel's back. So I would encourage you not to think of this in a fearful way, like, oh my gosh, I'm scared that something, like in a way of solicitude, like being afraid that something is going to collapse, or that something bad is going to introduce into your experience. It's unlikely that it's that. It's more like a blessing that comes into your experience, but a blessing that is also pretty heavy and pretty weighty, and needs a lot of energy behind it. And if we're already totally maxed out, that can be a pretty unfortunate situation there. And it's also like the universe keeps giving us like moment after moment to resolve these things. And then it's like when that time finally comes where we need to take on a blessing, if we can't do that, it's kind of just like, well, you had your chance, That's kind of the vibe that I'm feeling. It's not very like, how can I explain this? This is very hard for me to articulate. This isn't a mean thing that I'm feeling. This isn't an unfair thing. It's kind of like a physics thing, A good psychic image that can express this perhaps a bit is, you see like those videos on YouTube of like fails, or of like a weightlifter trying to lift a weight that they cannot possibly hope to lift. And it's like everybody watching the video knows it. Like everybody can see, like as they're approaching the dumbbells, as they're starting the lifting process, like everybody just knows, like it's very, very obvious. But for some reason, this person is still trying to do this, and then they faint, and then they have a bad accident, and then something bad happens, because they were doing something that was against the grain of their own body, or against the grain of the physics and gravity of their reality. And you just have to wonder like what the weightlifter felt in their arms before this happened, like as they approached it, as they tried to start lifting it, and the feeling that they're like probably the countless nerve impulses that their body had saying stop, that's not something you can do, that's way too heavy, that's way beyond your current strength capacity. Yet they tried anyway. This is like human condition stuff, right? This is like a human element thing where it's like we want to try to anyway. Like we're on camera, we are, for some reason, choosing that experience for ourselves. And then I would definitely think like, ideas of false heroism to a degree, like look at me, I don't have the strength to do this, but I'm going to force it through anyway. And there are some people who do it, like they're not strong enough to do it, but they somehow push it through. And I think a lot of us are kind of balancing between that, especially as Sagittarius people. And what I will say is this is where it's like good to have a spotter, right? Maybe if this weightlifter had appointed a spotter into their experience and that person were standing there, this could have all kind of been a fun little situation and just kind of for fun, why not? Or, they can do it on their own and take all of those risks. So it's just a stream of consciousness download about your energy and how now you've really got to have that spotter or you've got to lift the appropriate weight. Up to you. But anyway, Sagittarius, on that note, let's check out your extended reading on Patreon. I'm going to do a central theme and 2 supporting themes for you, and we'll talk more about this. That will be linked below and in the center of your screen now. I hope to see you guys over on Patreon. I do bonus weekly content every week called Tea Chats every Saturday. They're very awesome. And check the links below. I have an Amazon storefront where you can get some cool stuff that helps to support this channel if you wanted to do some holiday shopping or whatever. So check it out. I will talk to you all soon. Let's check out your extended now. Much love. Bye.